In this very special episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast, we have on my beautiful wifey and baby mama, Miss Steph Jack, and she is the founder of Ethical Earth Studios. She is a professional SAG actress. She is also a personal brand strategist for the world-renowned company Brand Builders Group. And in today's episode, we are talking all things building your brand so that you can magnetize your perfect people and ultimately happy hustle your dream reality. We're going to be diving into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast.
Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Catchy Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model/actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality.
Welcome, my beautiful wifey, Miss Steph Jack, to the Happy Hustle Podcast. I am super honored to rock the mic with you.
The honor is mine.
Oh, is it though? I feel like it's more mine. But nonetheless, I'm so grateful to have you, Baby Cakes. And I never call you Baby Cakes, but
Except in a film.
except in a film that one time when we did that one film.
Yeah.
I did call you that. But anyway, today we are talking about how to build, grow, and monetize your personal brand, because you are the visionary founder of Ethical Earth Studios. You're a professional actor and model. I guess I would say actress with SAG-AFTRA. You're part of the union, but you're also a personal brand strategist with Brand Builders Group, and you are helping mission-driven entrepreneurs build, grow, and monetize their personal brands and happy hustle their dream reality. And you've helped the Happy Hustle tremendously, myself, with your knowledge and expertise in this industry. And I wanted to bring you on the mic because yes, we are married, we have a child together, we have a whole life together in Montana, and it's beautiful to talk about personal stuff, but I also want to just shed light on the value that you bring in my world as an expert in branding. And I feel like in 2025, this is the year that it becomes more and more important every year, but now the trust that can be automated with a brand, being able to attract and magnetize your perfect people to your business. That's what I want to talk about today. So welcome to the show, Steph. And that was a long intro.
That was a long intro, but it was beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. First thing I always like to ask is, what is something interesting about Steph that not too many people know?
Interesting about Steph. I would say that my own personal mission is to raise consciousness in the world, in humanity. And so that was something that came to me actually through an ayahuasca journey.
Oh. Wow. I was there for that.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, that was intense. It's not a party. People think it's a party. It's not. It's work.
No, it's a lot of work, and I would never do it again. But
Yeah. I mean,
it was the most divine experience of my life, though. But it can be achieved through meditation. And so I love my reality as it is. And so
yeah,
that's it.
fair point. It is, people, I feel like you get diminishing returns with plant medicine if, especially you don't go in with intentionality. So, we got the postcard. Feel pretty grateful for that, but nonetheless, awakening consciousness in humanity, specifically through films, is something I know that you're passionate about, building this brand for yourself. So you're not just talking about it, you're being about it for yourself as well. But when we talk about brand, I know with Brand Builders Group, and shout out to Rory and AJ, founders of the company, and close friends of ours. They've both been on the show too, so if you want to go deep into that content, feel free to look it up. We'll also link it in the show notes. But the thing that I really find the most valuable is the brand DNA work that you do with clients, because without this piece to the puzzle, then everything else becomes more difficult. And unfortunately, I find a lot of entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs, they're just like, okay, I'm going to sell coaching, and here's my website, and here's my price point, and here's my Instagram handle. And they they just rush right into the market, but they don't think about this brand DNA work. So let's kick things off with why brand DNA is so important.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people who think about starting a brand, they think about website, they think about colors, they think about all of those things. And it's actually very much not a part, or I guess the biggest part of it. And it's really getting clear into how do you service your perfect avatar. And the brand DNA is so critical as a first step. And, you know, in Brand Builders Group, whether you are an Ed Milet or whether you're, you know, whoever it is, at whatever level you're at, we will always start you at brand DNA. And because we have seen and we know the power of having that clarity, and it helps you to make sure that everything you do is in alignment with that.
So true.
So understanding, what does that include? That's a brand positioning statement.
Yep.
So it's understanding, what problem do you solve? How do you solve it? What's your uniqueness, right? How do you uniquely solve the problem? And without that information, and really your avatar, who do you serve? Because it's, you know, what we like to say is Simon Sinek starts with, you know,
The why.
the why,
Yep.
and we start with the who.
Yeah.
It's who do you serve? And so everything we do, we filter it through the lens of who are we serving? What would speak more to our avatar?
Right.
So that's really the key to brand DNA, is you get so much clarity, and then that moves you into the conviction into what you need to start, whatever it is that you're starting, the brand, the business. So
Yeah, and let's unpack some of those key questions that you ask clients, because I think this is so powerful for everyone out there watching and listening. Go through and answer these for your personal brand and business right now as Steph asks them, because this was the turning point for my business. It's like the true north, you know, that lighthouse beacon where you know, this is my brand, this is my business. Let's dive into those questions.
yeah, I mean, we always start with understanding your avatar. And I can tell you that most clients that we get, they think that they have a clear idea of who their avatar is. And when we actually get into it and start to try to pinpoint who is that specific avatar, we get so much resistance. But there is so much power in understanding who is our avatar very specifically. And you'll have like a primary, a secondary, you'll have, you know, an ancillary or tertiary. And so that's, you know, something that we get clear on first.
Okay, so who are we serving? I know is one of those important questions. The one question, too, that I love because it's very specific is, what is your one-word problem, right?
Yep.
So unpack that for us.
Well, I'd like to unpack that. First of all, when people say their one-word problem, it's usually a solution.
Yes,
So
so
it's actually
true.
not even a problem.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when you would do, you know, some of the calls with BBG, you know, very early on. But, you know, you'll ask them, what problem do you solve? And they'll say, well, confidence. And you're like, well, that's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is the actual problem that you solve? And then, again, that helps you have the clarity to be able to know exactly what I'm going to create as a solution. So understanding what problem you solve and dialing it into one word is the work. And it's actually hard.
Very.
Yeah. There's so much resistance that we, you know, get from clients just from that alone. But dialing that in right in the beginning is critical. So.
Yeah. And, you know, for the happy hustle, our one word problem that we solve is imbalance, right? And it took us a long time to come to that one word, because there's a lot of things that as a byproduct we help people with, right? But truly the problem that most, you know, high performing, heart-centered, mission-driven entrepreneurs come to the happy hustle for is because there's an imbalance in their existence, right? Personally and professionally, they're not systematically harmonizing ambition and well-being, right? And when we stumbled upon, actually, I guess we say, when we did the deep work and got to that problem, or that one word problem, it changed everything, because now I clearly can identify that imbalance in our perfect target avatars, and then I know the solution, right? So that is, I think, such a pivotal piece, that one word problem. Then it's who exactly do you solve it for, right? You mentioned, you know, the avatar. Speak to a little bit about that avatar in the frame of most people focus on the demographics, but there's also psychographics. So unpack, how do we get into the mind of our avatar to know, really who is the best person for us to work with?
Yeah, I think the way we approach it in Brand Builders Group is, you are best positioned to serve the person you once were, typically, right? And so that is one of the first questions that we ask. And if you are somebody who has a business already existing or has a service or an offering, then we do want to consider who are you currently serving, right? But not be restricted by that.
Right.
Because you may not be serving the avatar that is your dream avatar.
Yeah.
And so I always like to pinpoint it and say, okay, if you could only serve one person for the rest of your life, just one,
Yeah.
who would that be?
Steph Jack, my wife.
Let's go.
I serve you, my queen.
Thank you, my king. Yeah, so that is really critical. But the demographics is something, yes, a lot of people go through. I think what a lot of people miss is the psychographics, and where that comes in is, and it takes out the restrictive nature of dialing in one specific avatar, because yes, you can say I help serve men who are married and have 2 kids, but if somebody comes in and they're a female and they have 3 kids or no kids, or they're single or married, you're still going to serve them. They're going to be well served in your brand to some capacity, your free content, whatever it is.
Right.
But what really matters is, what are the struggles? What are the pain points? What's their big dream? Right? And knowing all of that helps you get into the mind of the avatar.
Right.
And that tremendously changes your copy, how you speak to them, the type of content that you're creating for them. And so that is the work, again, that we do not let you miss.
Yeah. And again, this stuff, it makes all of your marketing efforts so much easier.
Yeah.
If you just know who the heck you're talking to with such extreme clarity.
Yep.
And when I click on the camera for, a piece of content, I know exactly who I'm talking to. And sometimes I have to remind myself because, you can get in just, the rudimentary phase of just repetition. However, when I think about the exact avatar and you name them and you get into their backstory, it's such a better piece of content. And then when you think about, some of the imposter syndrome that comes with growing a brand or the fear that might be associated with it, you just think about, hey, I know I can help this person. And I was there in the past, with that same problem, and I overcame it, and I just want to serve, and it just, everything becomes easier, right?
Yeah, that's so true. And really, your personal brand is just your unique lens, is your perspective. So if you really think about it, if you, one news story, right? Why do some people go to Fox News versus CNN News versus Vice News, right? They're all reporting on the same exact story, just a very different lens and perspective on it.
So true.
And so everybody needs to look at their personal brand. There's really, truly no right or wrong. It is your truth.
Yeah.
It is not the truth of the world. And so many people come in and try to do their foundational work and just stick to what is right, what is wrong. And we're like, what is your truth on the matter? Especially when you go into creating content. And so, yeah, I mean, it's what have you overcome? And it's even something that I find myself reminding people of constantly. It's you only have to be a very small percentage beyond where somebody is that you're serving, right? And then slowly, as you continue to elevate, you can continue to elevate how you're serving other people. But if you've overcome something, and you have a unique solution to that, that is enough to teach somebody else and to change a life.
Yeah,
and that is the best form of marketing, is a changed life.
Preach it, my wife. And I was like, you recently became a mother, and you now can advise expecting mothers because you're, a year above where or beyond where they are, right? And it's not that your lens on motherhood is better or worse than others. It's your lens, right? And I mean, I will say your lens is backed by thousands of hours of research because this girl Googles everything before it goes into our son's environment, which I'm very grateful for.
I'm very thorough.
Very thorough, right? But I'm saying that's such a beautiful reminder. It's like, okay, you're not a mother of 17 kids, and you thank God,
Yeah, that's not happening.
that'd be yeah. Whew,
Big
I'll talk
no-go.
down a hallway on that one. If oh, sorry, too much.
That's a lot.
17. That's a lot of kids.
Keep that classy.
Yeah, we'll edit that. No, we won't. So the point is, you just had one kid, and you're beyond, someone who's expecting. Just like if you started a business and you have some success, you could advise someone who wants to start a business. Just like if you have a podcast, you have some success, you can teach others. And it's like, there is a lot of gurus out there, right? This, fake gurus. So
many.
you want to be in integrity with like your results, but you should be teaching from your results. And it's not a how-to, it's a how-I perspective. That's why I love that lens metaphor, because even with this podcast, The Happy Hustle, I look at life through how can we be holistically harmonized, both personally and professionally. That's the lens. There's plenty of podcasts out there, or how to make more money, how to grow, how to scale, and this one ain't that. This is how to crush it, sure, personally and professionally, which means increasing your income and your impact. And we have a ton of world-class entrepreneurs on, but also, we have spiritual gurus, people who are, talking about how to optimize in other areas of life, because that's the lens in which I podcast through. I share how to happy hustle, both personally and professionally, this, systematic harmonization of ambition and well-being. Great reminder there. The third question that I really love about BrandBullet's group is, what is your uniqueness, right? And how do you exploit that in the service of others? Unpack that for us.
It's actually interesting because when you were just talking, I was thinking about the whole point of, yes, you can teach podcasting. Yes, you can teach business. Yes, I could teach motherhood. But the point of the branding, especially the uniqueness, is how do you uniquely solve the problem? Why would I go to Jane Smith or John Smith in the world or you, right? And it's that uniqueness. For me, it's consciousness. I care about consciousness when it comes to business, when it comes to anything that I do, parenting, motherhood, right? And so people who would maybe learn from me would be interested in more of like a holistic approach or a conscious parenting approach. But maybe that's not for everyone, and that's okay.
Right.
Your personal brand and the uniqueness specifically should tremendously filter out the people who are not right for you.
Amen.
So it should be expelling people, but deeply magnetizing the right people.
Yeah.
So that's a key piece to the uniqueness. And where people do, I guess, come into an issue with the uniqueness is they always find what's unique about them, but it's how you uniquely solve the problem. I'm going to repeat that. It's not what is unique about Carrie Jack. It is how Carrie Jack uniquely solves the problem of imbalance.
Yeah, we take you to the wilderness, drop you off.
Yeah, that's one way. Yes.
Steal your phone.
Yeah, that sounds
teach
like
you how to survive and thrive.
Sounds like your childhood.
Yeah, fair. I got daddy issues.
No, you were dropped off in the woods, and you had to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, find your way back.
But that's the truth. It's like how you uniquely solve the problem, right? And it's not about you, but you do need to think about what's different about you enough to the point where you can polarize people, where I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I know that. And I don't want to be, I am like low-key overcoming the people pleaser syndrome.
Oh, thank God. Let's go. Let's go. A big round for Carrie Jack.
She knows it. But, because I want to be liked by everybody. But realizing more and more that it's not for everybody. And that makes it unique in its approach and how it can deeply impact those who it is for. Right. And so when you are building your brand, I think with businesses, specifically in the personal brand world, you're like, I can help everybody. And then there's this saying where when you attempt to be everything to everyone, you actually become nothing to no one. So, it's, I think it's very true. Would you agree with that? Yeah.
I would completely. Yeah. I think that's the power of understanding your avatar for sure. But yeah, that's the foundational work. And we will, anybody who does come in, any one of my clients, I will slow you down
Yeah.
to then speed you up,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Yeah.
We will do the foundational work, and we will do it intentionally. And I have had people that skip over that work and find themselves 2 years in and going back to the foundational work versus just leaving it behind and just, carry on with that clarity.
Ballpark, like realistically, how long does that work take? I know it's different for everybody, but like if you were really going to commit to like being deliberate and finding your brand DNA and really pondering these questions, because I know there's more included, but like what are we expecting in a couple hours, a couple days, a couple weeks? What's realistic?
It depends if you have more time or if you have more money. So if you're talking brand builders groups specifically, if you have more money, then you could find any of, like the brand strategy days. There's different offerings that, we could help with that would take, 3 months into just 2 days getting it done, right?
Good point.
If you have more time than you have money, then you would be going through the process, right? If you have a strategist, it all depends if you're talking services. But I would recommend doing so with a framework.
Yeah.
And here's the honest truth. I had a marketing agency. You know that. It
Yeah.
was called You Rise Agency. And I saw you move in the Happy Hustle. I remember that you went with Anthony, right, as a part of Biohacking Secrets. And you guys went and did a brand DNA workshop with Brand Builders Group. And I was in the midst of essentially what I did. My service offering for my agency was equivalent to like the brand DNA of Brand Builders Group. So the step one. I just never had anything to follow or, any great places to refer people after that of what are the next steps. But I watched you move into that. And how many years were you trying to get clear?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then you went into that, and it was like
2 days.
Switch flipped. Flipped.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, there's something here.
There's magic there.
Yeah, there's magic here. And I ended up, obviously, you know this, I ended up folding my company and was like, well, I can't do this better. So I'm going to fold my company.
Can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, and I'm going to join this incredible company. But they're also so mission-driven, which is so important for me.
Yeah.
Just in my brand and, what my calling is mine was always like purpose-driven messengers, and theirs is mission-driven, and they're faith-based, and there was a lot of alignment there. But really, it just goes back to that framework. So people can go about it on their own and, try to find different vehicles of how do I, get clear on my brand DNA or identity. But if you're talking the brand DNA for Brand Builders Group, 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it does take time, but I look at it like a bow and arrow. You draw the arrow back to propel it forward at exponential speed. And that's what you do when you go back with your brand DNA. You really have to kind of dig in, like go tear it all down to the foundational elements, and then you shoot out like an arrow, and hopefully, drill the bullseye. And
that's a great analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to use that
Just
in
came up
all
with
of
that.
my calls. So thank you.
Yeah, just make sure you quote me for the first 2, and then it's yours after
All right.
that.
Got it. 10%.
10%, please, too. So the other question that I know you ask, and this is a little bit further down the road in terms of the actual process, but it's what is your primary revenue stream based around that brand DNA? So it's like, okay, what problem do you solve in one word? Who exactly do you solve it for? What is your uniqueness in solving that problem? And then what is your primary revenue stream?
How do you solve it?
In solving, right?
Yeah.
Unpack that piece, because I know there's tons of different, models and business, offers that could be applicable. But let's talk like new age 2025. What are you seeing working most effectively? And I know there's a couple acronyms that also, you guys use in this realm. Just unpack that revenue piece for us.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of my favorite parts of, the brand identity, the brand DNA, is what we call the golden grid. But essentially, it's understanding what are your business models, your primary, secondary, and ancillary, right? And the key is to have a long-term and a short-term, right? And only one in your primary. I can't tell you how many people fill this out and they have 10.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's diluted focus, friend.
And explain that quote, because that's such a great quote.
What?
When you have diluted focus,
you have diluted results.
You heard it here.
So good.
That's Rory. We got to shout out Rory for that one.
Rory Baden, let's go. Rory and AJ are amazing people with an amazing company. So, yeah, I mean, essentially, it's pretty simple process. It's, for me personally, how I move through it is very similar how you do. You reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
And my perfect avatar is like a incredibly multi-passionate creative entrepreneur.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure-free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that The Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
Right? And so usually they have a lot of different ideas. They're visionaries. And so how do we figure out what is the best step to take, right? And I first look at what's the long-term primary. So in 5 to 10 years from now, how do you see your life? What are you doing? Yep. Where's your focus going? Where's your revenue coming from? It's not only about the revenue, but where's your focus coming from or moving into? And so I always challenge people to think as big as possible for that long term.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is for you. Give me what, like, if you have imposter syndrome, or if you have, any kind of reservation of like, oh, I don't know if I can, actually achieve that, or maybe that's too big. It's never too big. Think as big as possible. What is that long-term primary for you?
For me, it's 17 kids, and I'd like to make some more babies with you.
That's definitely not going to happen. So that's too big.
Okay, I'll take 4.
Wrong partner. So, yeah. We're misaligned there. No. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, we'll adopt.
Yeah, we'll find a compromise.
Okay, how about some horses?
Horses are great. I'll take all animals
Cows.
possible. Yeah,
Goats.
cows are going to be in our house.
Chickens.
We're good.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, the whole works.
Well, yes.
We're going to have
Proceed.
a
Sorry for
sanctuary,
Just got me thinking about my long term.
So, yeah, so that big dream, big dream, think about that, and then we reverse engineer that. And, sometimes I even add some, like, midterm. But it's really thinking, okay, what is the best first step to get us there? And the beauty, I think, for me, what, a client recently told me is the cool thing about Brand Builders Group, which, is the fact that you don't have to do a specific business model. If you go into different people, I guess like Amy Porterfield is courses, right? Yeah. And it's like Brand Builders Group, there are so many different ways that you can serve your avatar, and we are not teaching just one. Right? And so it's just figuring out what is that best first step, and everything should be leading and driving and building towards that big dream. And so I love big dreaming and visioneering. Visioneering is actually a really great book. If anybody hasn't read that,
Shout out
is
to that book.
Incredible. It's faith-based, so if you're not into the Bible verses and things like that, you can disregard it, but it is an incredible message. So it's just reverse engineering and figuring out what is that primary business model right now. And sometimes it's doing some things that we don't want to do initially, but it's serving. Maybe looks like serving one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to do coaching. You don't have to, right? But we have to figure out what is the best first step.
Yeah. And oftentimes, like, trading your time for money is the fastest path to cash with your brand or business. However, long term, the goal would be to create something, again, more scalable. For us specifically at the Happy Hustle, we have our, Happy Hustle Club, which is our high level men's mastermind community. That is such a blessing in my life because I get to work with my perfect target avatars, these badass, high performing, heart centered male entrepreneurs. And then we go on these awesome mastermind excursions. But long term for us, it's our B2B SaaS program that we are actually taking our Happy Hustle, IP, these 10 alignments, and we're helping companies increase employee engagement and decrease churn. Ultimately, help these companies put the happy in their hustle and become Happy Hustle certified through our SaaS, our software as a service. So even for me, this is very relevant because this is what we're currently doing. This is where we're headed. And I'll probably still do awesome masterminds with badass entrepreneurs because that's just fun for me,
and that's where your heart lies.
Right.
Yeah.
However, everything kind of works in a flywheel for the Happy Hustle. We have our free content, the podcast, the books, the videos, the courses, the social media, which then feeds our Happy Hustle Club and our masterminds. It brings in these perfect avatars. And then the avatars, these entrepreneurs, they have companies which they want to then infuse the Happy Hustle ethos into their team. So then they join that company happiness program, and then their team then goes watches the free content and gets the book and, watches the social media. And it's just this beautiful flywheel. So I highly recommend, and I know you guys do as well, creating this circular economy within your business model so that it all works synergistically.
Correct. Yeah. And even with the brand DNA, it's, something I do want to point out is, with the avatar specifically, you'll have your primary avatar, and they should typically serve your primary business model at the time. So that's a key. The secondary avatar typically will serve your primary or your secondary business model. And then your tertiary is typically people who are consuming your free content.
Right.
So, where people feel limited about nailing and dialing in one person, you can have your tertiary is like a catch-all. Put all of those people, put men, women, put, all ages, whatever it is in your tertiary. And again, they are the ones who are consuming your free content.
Yeah.
Right. And eventually the hope is that you nurture them, and they eventually, continue to evolve until they become your primary or your secondary.
Yeah. Or they don't, and you just make a bigger impact, and
Correct.
You can feel good at night that you're helping others.
Yeah. Sleep well.
Yeah. So we covered a lot of the brand DNA stuff, and obviously, to go deeper, like you guys have a whole process. You mentioned the brand strategy days, but you also have like 2 tiers of a annual program. Just unpack that a little bit, because I feel like that's in just full transparency, I went through this whole program now twice. One for my first business as in biohacking secrets with my business partner Anthony, and we had amazing results with that company. I was like, shit, this stuff works. We did, it was a nice mid 7-figure business with a free plus shipping book funnel that we did close to, I think it was like 67,000 copies through this book funnel. And then we were selling 25K and 50K, biohacking, health coaching, essentially programs on the back end. And we had, a great kind of course structure. We had all sorts of really cool stuff. We were doing events, and we largely leveraged BrandBullet's group to blow that company up. And, also Russell Brunson was a figurehead client and a friend of ours. So he kind of kingmakered Anthony and,
Olympic athletes.
Yeah. And we had Olympic gold medalists and, Fortune 500 CEOs, really cool clients. But I saw BrandBullet's group and the positive impact it had there. So then I went through for the Happy Hustle and myself. And, I still have a strategist that helps coach me through my own personal brand and different decision points. Shout out to Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy?
Legend.
Yeah. And Rory and Jeremy really were largely behind our book launch for the most recent Happy Hustle version 2.0, which became a shout out to that book. USA Today.
Number 39.
Number 39 on the list. Bestseller.
Yeah.
In all categories. So, the process works. I'm living proof, and I can be a testament to it. So there's 2 program types. Just so unpack those.
So First of all, I do want to say Brand Builders Group is blowing up the publishing industry. So let's go.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So much wrong with it. Let's
Yeah.
go. And so it's beautiful to see that disruption, that positive disruption for authors. So yeah, so I would say there are 2 tiers. There's a Premier, essentially, it's like a self-study program. And so it's a collapsible offer, right? So it's a self-study program. And then you have your pro membership, which is where you have more support. You have events, live events, virtual events, and then you work with a strategist. And then outside of that is the brand strategy days. So you can get through an entire topic through, just 2 days.
Right.
Some of them we offer it in a half a day or 1 day or 2 day.
Right. And so it's basically DIY, like do it yourself, which is the Premier more so. Done with you, which is like the pro, and then done for you more so is like the brand strategy days.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
And how many phases are there in the curriculum?
There's 4 phases.
4 phases. And
And
inside
that's
of
the
each.
beauty
Yeah.
of Brand Builders Group is it will take you from the idea, right, all the way to 8-9 figures.
Yeah. Yeah. And the 4 phases, actually, there's like segments within the phases, right? Just go through and list the whole circle, of the 4-phase structure.
Why don't you take us through previous salesman?
You got this.
Yeah, we have phase 1, we have phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Essentially, it's like phase 4 is the scaling phase. We have, the first one is like the foundational phase. That's brand DNA, captivating content, and world-class presentation craft. What that looks like, the foundation, that is where I slow people down to then speed them up. So that is the brand DNA. The captivating content is where we actually package your content in a way that is marketable,
Right.
palatable to the world. So that's where we create your unique IP.
Yep.
That is where we'll go through. We need to create your frameworks. We need to create what are your quotable moments, your pillar points, we call them.
Yeah.
Right? What are stories, right? Because people remember in terms of visuals, but also it's like if you're sitting here giving a presentation and you drop a quote, right? That might hit, but then you tell a story and the punchline is that quote, right? Or that point, and that may hit somebody else, right? And then you give a visual and that will even further deepen for somebody to remember this point, this new concept that you're introducing as your thought leadership, right? And so we go through all of those things. There's a behavior, right? So you want to also have a behavior inspiring. Then we move into the world-class presentation craft. So that's where we now have all your content. Now, how do you speak on that?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, well, go out and speak on podcasts, go out and speak on stages, go out and do workshops. And so that is where you create your presentation. The phase 2 moves more into building like your revenue engine, right? So that's like platform, your website. That's, a lot of different things where you would, I guess, create the platform to make sure that it can sustain all of the traffic that we're about to drive in.
Yeah.
Phase 3 is where we are doing like high traffic strategies. There's podcast power. There's, a couple different things, bestseller launch plan. And then phase 4 is the scaling. So that's the 8-figure entrepreneur. That's the influential leader and scale your sales. So that's where you really blow up. But again, this is a 3-year program minimum.
Yeah.
So it's very thorough, but it's sustained success.
Yeah, I equate it to like getting a master's degree in personal branding and building a
Marketing.
business. Yeah. It's like instead of getting a business degree and like hope that you like learn something useful and that your teacher actually has done what they say they've done or teaching from experience and not just from a book.
That business in business school,
In business
teachers
school.
have never started a business? Yes.
Right.
That's correct.
Those who cannot teach. No, I'm kidding.
Not always,
No.
but not always. But I will say that you know this.
Obviously, I love teachers. I just wasn't much for school.
Yeah. Well, I even remember I was going through the point of really making a decision if I wanted to go to business school or not. And
remember what I said.
Yeah, don't do it.
I said, how about this? Start a business.
Yeah.
Because I went to business
and
school.
so I did.
Not like Wharton or nothing, but that was my track, business, in college, and I didn't learn shit compared to 6 months of starting a business.
Correct.
You
And I
know-
did start a business, but that was another reason why I joined BrandBullet's group is
Yeah.
because I saw so much opportunity for my own personal growth as well and
Yeah.
professional.
I
Right?
do want to retract my statement. Those who can do also teach,
Yeah.
because it is true. But for the record, I feel like that investment into college, if you're serious about like building, growing, and monetizing your personal brand, it could just be far better placed in a program like this that's more niche and targeted for actually implementing the knowledge. You know what I mean? With the
Yeah.
step-by-step process. So
Yeah.
I know this kind of sounds like a commercial for BrandBullet, but this also is just because we both believe in it. And it's more so just the process at large of like just getting out there and just taking ownership of your life by starting, something like this. Even if you have a career right now and you're listening and you want to have more autonomy, the three freedoms, creative, time, and financial freedom, like what better way than to get paid to be yourself?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm so stoked about. Is like I wake up, I don't have to do anything that I don't really want to do because I've designed my dream reality in that way.
Amen.
And it is possible for you out there listening and watching. Anyone can do this. It's just you have to follow the process, go at it with a strategy. Don't just throw spaghetti on the walls. I've done that, and that didn't work.
I saw the difference.
Yeah, 4 failed businesses, legit.
Yeah.
And it's just, the difference is evident when you have strategy, when you have, proven and tested results that you base your decisions on. You follow the data points too, when you get market feedback. That's the difference, because you can spend a lot of time and money and effort building it the wrong way,
Yeah. And here's the thing too. It's like we all have these big dreams and we have these callings. I am a firm believer that God will never give you the vision or the calling without giving you the tools, right? And so we just have to go out there and get after it. And I think for me, that was one of the biggest things with any of my clients or anybody that I work with is, it's again, no right or wrong. It's what do you want to create for your life? Let's create it accordingly. Right. There will be some steps that maybe we have to put in work. Obviously, you're going to put in work all the way through, but some steps where you have to like do one-on-one coaching if you don't want to, right? Just to get to know your avatar, get some feedback, refine the process before you lock it into a course, things like that. That's
sometimes you got to do it for free.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go out there and speak for free. You know how many people are like, I don't want to do that for free. And I'm like, well,
you haven't earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not only that. It's like, even when we go through like pricing structure, it's like, well, I want to price this at what I'm valued at. It's like, but earn that.
Yeah.
Earn that.
Yeah.
Like get better. And it's not only that, it's getting the conviction.
Yeah. And
right?
the confidence.
As you work with people, even if it is for free or for a lower tier offer or whatever it is, it's like you working with people and gathering feedback deepens the conviction and the confidence that you have in delivering this outcome in this solution to other people, which is really cool.
Preach it.
I do tell people, I'm like, look, you are building a personal brand for freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Build it in terms of what you see for your life. That big vision, that long-term big vision, that is what we need to keep as our North Star. That is what we need to keep as our why. We are creating this.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to tell me what you think you need to do. I want you to tell me what you really desire.
Yeah.
What does your life look like? What is the mission that you're here to serve on this earth?
Yeah.
And so,
yeah,
beauty
again,
of a personal brand.
What'd you say?
Beauty of a personal brand.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And it's for business or, whether you're doing personal branding. I have people who are creatives who are, in the film industry, or I have other people who are doing it to drive leads to a business. And that's something, it's like you can use your personal brand to drive leads to your business.
Right.
That is lead generation.
Right.
It is a powerful lead generation tool.
1,000%. Yeah.
And that's that trust factor.
Yeah. Now more than ever, people want to know who's behind the company anyway.
Yep.
And so if you're listening to this, you're like, should I, shouldn't I? It's not even a question of should you or shouldn't you. You already have a personal brand. You have a reputation.
Yeah.
And what Steph is talking about doing is building it with intentionality and cultivating this online digital reputation so that it does reflect your expertise
Yeah.
and drive business to your ultimate goal, right? And, I think about like when someone Googles you right now, what comes up, and is that what
you
you
have no
want?
control of.
Right. And well, you do have control.
Well, if you're not building your personal brand.
You're not, right, correct.
Then you're allowing the world to tell the rest of the world who you are.
And your story rather than writing it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all positioning.
Exactly.
And it's critical for any business. And we even did a case study. Brand Builders Group did a case study. And
well, I think it was like the largest study on in personal branding history, right?
Yeah. And they found out that really it's the trust factor. And, people, I think the number one profession that people said they wish they had a personal brand was in doctors. They're doctors. It's like, I want my doctor to have a personal brand. Why? Because I want to make sure the doctor I'm going to, I can trust.
Right.
And now more than ever, obviously, with like the healthcare system and everything, it's like, it's key for me. Like, how did we find our pediatrician, Carrie? Well, how did I find
That's
my
what I was going to say. You found them.
Yes, because he has a personal brand.
Right.
And I was able to understand, oh, this is a naturopath. Oh, he is holistic, right? And that calls to me, and it might repel the people who, aren't interested in that, approach. But for me, I was like, yep. And we pay out of pocket for that.
Yep.
And I'm happily and willingly I do so. I have no problem doing that.
Right.
But his personal brand is what drove us there.
Right.
Right? Out of all the pediatricians in Bozeman, I went to him because of his personal brand and because I knew his values were aligned with our values.
Right.
And so imagine that with any business.
Yeah.
Imagine it.
Well, and, again, I shout out Rory because he's got a lot of great pillar points. Reputation times reach equals revenue. Right. So when you have your reputation dialed in with your personal brand, then you just magnify that reach. You get your reputation out there to more people. You make more money, and the thing is, it doesn't take millions of followers to make money. We don't have millions of followers. Like we have, a small drop in the bucket compared to probably most of my friends in the creator industry, and
well, funny enough, social media is such a small part of what
right.
we do. Like I can tell you it's probably about maybe 6%.
Right.
You really don't need millions of followers to make millions of dollars, it's such a small part.
Well, Kevin
it's a marketing
Kelly,
ploy, but
Kevin Kelly wrote this article called 1,000 True Fans. And really all you need is 1,000 true fans. Not even. You really only need 100, and you can make buku bucks.
Yeah.
And, we're living proof because, honestly, like we have a small group of awesome people, like small in the scheme of things, but, a couple hundred entrepreneurs that come on our stuff consistently, and we bring some people into the fold every year, but it's pretty awesome because I don't have to serve all these other people. We just have, a price point that warrants this experience and deliver more value than they pay. And ultimately, I don't want to be dealing with the headache of customer service of this massive business. This is a lifestyle brand of business. Now, this B2B SaaS play, that's where I'm bringing in a team and helping out to grow this company happiness program. But the point is, you out there listening, watching, sometimes can get overwhelmed and discouraged even when you're like, dang, I need to grow my Instagram following, and this person has 150,000 and they're doing something just like me. And, I don't think I can compete. It's like, well, they're going to be different than you, first of all. Like they're going to communicate and have a different style and a different lens, will you?
Correct.
And then you will build your business with a strategy that maybe doesn't require anything near what they have built. And oftentimes, fun fact, most people have fake followers out there, and don't get discouraged. I had them, so I can say that honestly.
Yeah.
I, talk about this openly, but we paid a marketing agency and they've got a bunch of bot followers for us, tanked our impressions and engagement.
Haven't recovered it for years.
Yeah, it took us years. Now we're starting to get our engagement back up, but we had to get rid of, 100,000 followers that were all fake. And a lot of people out there, if you just look at their engagement ratio, you could see how many likes they have to how many followers.
Yeah.
Most people have fake followers, so don't let your
It's actually in the case
yourself
study.
get discouraged.
People said that what they care about the least
Yeah.
is how many followers people have.
Interesting.
Because it is such a well-known thing of people paying for followers, people paying for
Right.
engagement. It's not only the followers,
Right.
which is insane. But yeah, I mean, the personal brand is key. The social media is not.
Yeah. And that was me in a long-winded way of me ranting to getting to that point. Just go deep, not wide.
Correct.
Really pour into your people, and you'll crush.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
correct.
Where can people go to learn more about BrandBullet Group? I feel like there's definitely going to be some people out there who are like, all right, I know I need to just explore this option. What's the best way?
I would say go to freebrandcall.com/SJ, as in Steph Jack.
And what do they get there?
They will be able to get on a free personal brand call, and that's where we can actually strategize and see, at least leave them better than where, when they first came to us.
Yeah. freebrandcall.com/SJ. And this is definitely something I recommend for everybody, whether you think it's now or later. At least have the call and see if it's a fit and learn something, because it's not like just them pitching the whole time or any crap like that. It's like, no, you're actually going to get strategy. You're going to see the process and how it could potentially work for you. And I mean, it really does move the needle. And the best thing I would, recommend too is don't kick the can down the road, because you are actually hurting the people who need your message. You know, like there's people out there right now who they only could hear your solution from your voice and unique lens. You know what I mean?
Essentially you're doing your perfect avatar disservice by not putting your content out there. Right? Like whatever the solution is, whatever, the teachings that you have to share, to give, it will help somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If it would have helped you at some point of your life, it will help somebody. And, do it in service of others. What was the quote that you told me before we started this podcast? There is no fear when the service is clear.
When the mission of service
when the
is clear.
mission is service,
Yep.
It's a beautiful quote, and it's something that, I try, conceptually at least, I try to remind all of, the people, the incredible people I get to work with. It's like when they move into like, oh, now I have to talk about my content. It's like, but don't think about yourself in this.
Yeah.
Think about your avatar.
Yeah.
Think about how can I add the most value to the people I'm speaking to today.
Yeah.
That's it. Just value add service. Service is actually Brand Builders Group's uniqueness.
Yeah.
What's your uniqueness?
Alignment.
There you go. So how do you uniquely solve the problem of imbalance? Is through alignment.
Yep.
And that's why people would come to Happy Hustle versus another company who's solving for imbalance through another form, right?
Right.
It's like people want alignment.
That's right.
And they will come to you.
Come on down to Funkatown, yo.
Let's go.
All right. Well, I feel like the people want to know about you as the mother and the wife, as well as just the personal brand strategist. And at least I always want to know more. So the question that I have is, how has life changed now that you are a wife? We were together prior to getting married, about 6 years. And now we're married about 3 years, and we have a son who's about 15 months old at the time of this recording. And so just give us a quick, hot take, will you, on working as a professional, happy hustling, but then becoming a mother and a wife. How's life changed?
Oh, let me take a moment to just breathe this in. First of all, I'd like to just shout out Kaizen Jack, who is an absolute gem and a legend. My God, have I never known love like this?
I know, it's so true.
Oh, it's like it never goes away. Carrie and I we right? We find
Unless
ourselves.
he was up at 4 a.m. last night, keeping us both up, and we're like,
as soon as you see him, you're like, oh, just let's
I know,
go.
He's so cute.
Oh my God, it never goes away. Yeah. So I mean, it's I don't know how else to say it. It's hard.
It's hard.
Wow.
It
is.
is.
I mean, parenthood alone is hard, but on top of trying to maintain, being a full-time, working, human being, and also, feeling like you're a full-time mom, because we don't really have that much help. We never got an au pair, and it's like I'm I know you are too, but so particular on who influences him.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have very high standards.
Yeah.
Hashtag no shame.
Yeah.
So, but it's hard. It's really hard, but it's beautiful, and it's a challenge for sure every single day. But now we're getting into a better place at 15 months where he's, it's a lot more fun and receptive, and really, like, I don't know. It's great now, and I think that there was a balance that I needed to, hence imbalance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you all how many times Carrie looked at me and was like, the first year postpartum, and he was like, I cannot have the Happy Hustle brand and have a burnt out wife.
I said that.
Like, it's bad for
I'm
branding.
the anti-burnout guy.
It's bad for our marriage.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what it is. I'm trying to just, And funny enough, I actually asked somebody about, what happens when you have a second one. They're like, oh, it's like you're drowning and then somebody throws you another baby. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Sounds fun.
17 kids is not
Where
in the
do I
plan
sign up?
for sure. But maybe one more.
Yeah. No, two more at least.
No, just one.
Maybe 3.
Just one.
All right. We'll talk about that off air. Nonetheless, we appreciate you, Steph, so much for coming by. I do want to put you through the rapid fire round.
Before we get into that, though, I do want to say that you were a really great stage dad 4 weeks postpartum.
Oh, yes, we should shout you out on that
because that was a pretty big moment for me as a postpartum mother. That was very cool. But I just want to mention that because I was in full alignment with my mission and my calling and my creativity for film. So
yeah, fun fact, Steph booked a very prominent role in a movie with Pierce Brosnan, Samuel L. Jackson, and a couple other cool actors. It's a Western that's shot at the Yellowstone Film Ranch in Montana, and she just had our son.
2 weeks postpartum.
2 weeks postpartum.
I get a call from my agent, and she says, Steph, I know you just had a baby, but I'm just wondering, can you do this self-tape? And I was like, I'm sorry? I was like, I'm on maternity leave. And she's like, no, it's fine. She's like, you'll play pregnant. You're on bed rest. And I was like, well, that I can do. I was like, let's go. And I ended up booking the role. And I was on set, 4 to 6 weeks postpartum. Yeah. And Carrie was there with the baby. And
I was in her trailer with her name on it with this baby that I've never had real, full custody of. And I had a bottle, and I didn't even know how to feed it a bottle because she's breastfeeding.
You had to FaceTime.
I had to FaceTime my cousin and be like, "How do I get in this bottle so it doesn't get an air bubble?" Meanwhile, she's in bed with Samuel L. Jackson on set. For the record, she was.
No, we're good.
No, well, I'm not going to get in deep, but I'm saying she played a woman on bed rest, or a pregnant woman.
Yes, so but we kept it classy.
Yeah, she kept it classy.
It's actually a beautiful thing between us, and I would like to just mention that we are pure. And so I've never, throughout these almost 10 years together and doing all the films and roles and different opportunities that have come my way and his way too. Right? Yeah. I know you've shut down some. We have not even kissed another person.
I know. That's one thing that is very difficult in the industry because, most women especially, they get these sex icon roles in films. Not all of them. There's, obviously badass feature films with women as the lead. But, and Steph is being a beautiful Latina stunning actress, she gets a lot of these roles that are like love interest, or
not
lead.
anymore though. Because now I manifest differently.
Yes.
Just powerhouse women, let's go, superwoman, like anything just powerful. Not the love interest.
I know, but we're giving them the real here, and we're getting into brand, which is, again, you have to identify where your barriers are, what you stand for, what you stand against, and we didn't want to have, any actions that were not in alignment with our marriage.
Yep.
And again, we're not claiming to be marriage gurus by any means because we got plenty of shit. And I'd like to say this. We've had plenty of walk away moments. We just haven't walked away. So if you're out there and you're looking at us like, hey, they got it figured out, we just haven't walked away. You know, we have grit,
We've
relationship
tried.
grit.
We've tried.
Yeah.
We've tried to walk away.
Yeah.
But it's always one or the other. It's like, nope.
No, you ain't going
Nope.
nowhere.
Nope. We're not done.
That's the thing. Like in marriage, I feel like now in our culture, not that we're transitioning full on to Dr. Phil and relationship counseling, but you have to have relationship grit. Shout out to John and Catherine Gordon who have relationship grit, and they've had plenty of walkaway moments too, and they talk about it in their book. And that gave me a lot of perspective because, you know, you see people online or, working with their spouse, and everyone, shows the good shit, not necessarily the real.
And there's so much real.
Yeah, it's real. Like
Yeah.
we've had plenty of stuff over the years. Nothing like no infidelity, no lying, cheating, stuff like that. But it's just like, we got drama with our families and all sorts of stuff that it causes a lot of rift. And, I'm proud that we are still married and together and raising a beautiful son and hopefully more, maybe 4 more. And
Just one more.
okay, nonetheless, raising more.
Regardless, but I do want to say this with the personal brand side
Yeah.
is that was pivotal for me as an actress is to really start positioning I was allowing my agent, I was allowing, other people in the industry to position me in specific roles.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was like, man, I really don't like these type of roles. Why
Right.
am I doing this? So I finally just started putting it out there, and it's now in my website copy. It's now in when I speak to people, I have a conviction behind it.
Yeah.
And now people know when they think of Steph, it better be a badass female role. It better be, or no thank you. And it better be in a project that has purpose,
Yeah.
because I don't want to do anything less than that for me.
Right.
And so it's getting that clarity was so pivotal, not just for, the business side, but also the creative side.
Right.
So, I mean, personal branding is
I'm proud of you because it's, with those parameters, it takes longer too, because I know you've, been in the game a while, and you would have been,
man, I
in
could
a-
have,
yeah.
could have been.
we're not going to name names, but The Rock, he and her, yeah, and Michael Bay and all these other people, right? No?
Not Michael Bay.
Well, you had a bunch of people who wanted you for roles that,
And The Rock was,
you weren't about.
and that was not it. No.
She knows DJ.
Yeah, he was he was classy.
Classy
always.
guy.
Yeah, always.
My wrestling
friend.
hero wanted to date my wife, just for the record. And
Carrie.
I think the better man won.
Carrie we first started dating, and Carrie.
Who's
sees a
this
text-
DJ guy
sees a-
texting you late?
and
You're telling me The Rock is texting it right now?
He's like, that's my competition.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little concerned. I didn't think I would win that one, but we're still here. So,
Yeah, you're a beautiful human.
hey, you are too. Anyway, it's getting weird in the best way.
But anyway, yes. Personal.
Personal brand, start one, create one, and reach
Very
out to Steph
important.
if you want to learn more about it. Nonetheless, let's run you through the rapid fire round, okay?
Okay, let's
'Kay.
go.
I want to see what you say. All right, favorite food, go.
Healthy.
No, that's not a food.
Yeah, healthy.
Just one.
Healthy
what's your
genre.
favorite? This is why I fail sometimes on Mother's Day, because I don't. This is what she says. Healthy. I don't know what the heck that means. We need a specificity as men. We need to know what you're thinking.
It changes so much.
Well, pick one.
Like every time I try something delicious, I'm like, this is my favorite.
Okay, how about dinner tonight? What's your favorite tonight?
I don't know. Maybe I feel like Thai, but that's just today.
Okay, Thai.
You know.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie, Now and Then.
Favorite book?
Favorite book, honestly, I think Visioneering.
What's your
Very
spirit animal?
My spirit animal is a Luna wolf.
Oh, Luna Wolf.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Best business advice.
Best business advice I could give. Make sure that you align your business with your vision and mission.
Love it.
Yeah.
And 3 things you're most grateful for today.
Well, my husband.
Paid her to say that.
My husband, my son, and definitely my family. Ohana.
And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on there, what's that billboard read?
Something on consciousness, I think. I think I'm still kind of developing that. Yeah, I just think programming for the positive. Everything programs us. It's just programming for the positive.
Damn, I love that.
Yeah.
Well said. And Steph, as always, I have to take a moment to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom with the happy hustlers. My beautiful wifey, love you.
The honor is mine.
And I'm just grateful for you for sticking by my side, being my ride or die, and raising our beautiful son and being just the beautiful soul you are. I mean, this girl, for the record, there was a cockroach when we first started dating. And I went to smash it, and it was in my house, and she laid down and protested for its life, and then shoot it outside. And so that type of kindness resonates in every area of life. Now she is spicy as all get out. That's why she loves to play the badass role. But when it comes to doing the right thing, you can trust Steph will. And so I'm just grateful for you to be doing life together. So
every single creature deserves to be here.
That's right. That's part of that consciousness.
Except mosquitoes. It's the only thing.
Yeah, if they bite her, she will smack a mosquito. Right. Yeah, I get that. All right, tie a bow on everything we talked about today when it comes to personal branding and just, building, growing, and monetizing your brand. And then again, where can people go to learn more?
I would say when it comes to personal branding, instead of allowing the world to say who you are, why not tell them who you are? Why not tell them your mission, your vision, and what you're here for, right? We're all here, in my opinion, to serve God's, mission and purpose. And so I would love to control my own reputation in the world. So why not do that for you? And then use that to drive to whatever business model and, offerings that you have. So there's a lot of power in personal branding for sure. And where people can find out more if you guys are truly interested and ready to build your personal brand, because I think it's not a if, I think it's a when.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're ready to do that, I would go to www.freebrandcall.com/SJ. And I would love to talk to you all and see how we can strategize your business. And I promise you, I will leave you better than how you came.
Love that. freebrandcall.com/SJ. Take action, y'all. Don't wait on this personal brand game. It is pivotal. It will change everything if you do it with a strategy. And Steph and BBG are doing it at the highest level. So There you go. All right. As always, I got to ask, what does happy hustling mean to you?
Happy hustling means to me that I am living my life in full alignment with my mission and my vision. And so what that is for me is raising consciousness. And that's coming into raising consciousness through motion picture. Shout out to Ethical Earth Film Studios.
Yeah. Mic drop. However, I do want to say ethicalearthstudios.com, or where do people go to learn more?
Steph Jack.
Steph Jack.
I am StephJack.com. If you want to look more into my personal brand, I am launching my new personal brand website in Q1. So that will be January 31st. That will be live.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm putting it out there.
Okay, here we go. Now you got to have it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you, my beautiful wifey. Love you. Love you all.
Love you all.
Peace and love. We are out.